Good afternoon. In this video, we're going to go over this week's options watch list. Before I get into the watch list, if you're not in the room, you can find the link in the description of the video and in my bio section of social media accounts. Also, please like the video and subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. Now, this should be a pretty interesting week. Just taking a look at the economic calendar first. We have elections on the 8th. Now, we have some Fed speakers Monday at 3:40, Mester and Collins. Obviously, like I said, midterms is Tuesday the 8th. Wednesday, don't see anything. We got FOMC member Williams speaking at 3 a.m. on Wednesday. That's kind of weird. We have numbers on Thursday. The CPI numbers will probably be pretty big unemployment claims. So we do have some pretty big news on Thursday and Friday. Just some preliminary consumer sentiment Friday at 10 a.m. So not really nothing too substantial. Just the CPI on Thursday and elections on Tuesday. So now I'm thinking that we're going to have an elections run up. The market kind of take a little bullish run into the elections, probably tomorrow, Tuesday. Then we'll get reaction to the election results, good or bad. So right now I'm kind of thinking that we get the VIX at right around 24.55. Definitely could see the VIX come down to the 22 level. We get a gap fill right down here to 21.50. I wouldn't be surprised if we ended up seeing VIX drop down to 22 or even 20 this week, but we'll have to see if that actually happens or not. So I know that it has on the hourly, it's got a bullish divergence going on, but VIX is just one of those things where it can diverge for a long time. And when you have it having this many red days in a row, which usually do have a green one, but I think that we won't have that till after elections. But who knows? I could be completely wrong, but right now, I'm thinking that we're going to have a run-up into elections, and then we're going to end up dumping afterwards. So I'll have to see what happens. But, yeah, I'm thinking that VIX has got room down to the 22, 20 level. And SPY, I think it's over this, let's see, this 377, 378 level. It's got some room to run to 380. Let's see, what is the highest? This is what, 390. This is where it stopped out last time. So we could see a push to 390 possibly. And if it does get over 390, the next big area will be 400. I think it gets over 390. We're going to have a really strong short squeeze up to up to 400. Now, all week long, we have not had that ridiculous day on SPY. I mean, we had this, this was last week. Went from 379 to 389, so a $10 move. We haven't had that ridiculous $10 move squeeze since the 390 level. We just had this dump from FOMC and started to pop on Friday and pull back just a little bit, but pulled back quite a bit. But it actually tried to finish green, but it couldn't. But it ended up putting in a nice little black candle on the daily. So I'm thinking that we could possibly gap up, make a push to 380. I mean, if it gets over this 378, 380, 385, 390, 390 is where it's going to have trouble. And if this SPY gets really ridiculous, that push to 400 probably be in the cards for elections. So definitely keep an eye on that for that. Now, Amazon, actually, before I get into Amazon, BA is starting to look interesting. Starting to wake up. I mean, the daily, I'm surprised that it's had some strong moves on the daily, and it's got back into this channel, got over the RCT trend line on the weekly. The top of this channel is the 178, 180 level. So yeah, right up here, 178. So I would watch BA over 161. If it gets over 161 Friday's high, you could probably make a push to 170, even to 175. It's been in such a huge downtrend for so long that it gets over this 170 level, we could actually see a change of momentum for for BA. But we'll have to see, because every time BA starts to get some strength or starts to get some momentum, it just gets crapped on, or just bad news comes out and it just doesn't go anywhere. So maybe BA is actually going to finally wake up and actually do something. Be interesting to see what happens with that. Amazon, Christmas season's coming up, or actually it's here, and it's just taking a huge nosedive from earnings, and it just keeps dropping. And I think anything under the 90 area, or even underneath 100, is just going to be a very good long term hold. But right now I'm watching over 92 for a push to 94, 95, 90, 98, then 100, and get gap resistance right here at the 104 area. It gets over 104, we could see a gap fill up to 110. So I think that plus you see that the daily RSI is down at 24. It's pretty low for Amazon. The last time it was down this low was right over here, and it had a nice little pop. So we could see this kind of a move right here, pop to 100. Plus look at the weekly. You get the RSI down here at 23, and it's rising as it's making lower lows. So you get a bullish divergence going on the weekly in a higher time frame. And plus this 90 level is this is the COVID crash right down in here. This is where it was down in the COVID. So I'll have to see what happens with that. But I'm definitely keeping an eye on Amazon. Meta, same thing. It's just getting hammered on. Same thing. You can see the RSI down here is going up as it's going lower. Now we had a big gap down from earnings, and it's just the RSI on the daily is so low from Meta, Facebook. So I'd watch it over 92. I could say 92 for a push to 95, 100. Then you got gap resistance right here at the 103 area. Likely might reject that. It probably have to pull back a little bit before it actually does do that. But it gets over this gap resistance right here. It's got a lot of open air to 120. So we'll have to see what happens with Meta. Definitely keep that on top watch. Netflix now. Netflix is pulling back from this big earnings play. It didn't quite fill the gap. It would be nice if it actually filled the gap now. You can watch it over 272, but I'm more interested in, if it does pull back a little more, I think the area to watch it is at 250. If it does get to 250 and fill this gap, that might be an area to start watching Netflix for a bounce. So you can just probably put an alert there for a 250 and see if it triggers. Now on the weekly, it came back up, it touched the top of the Keltner channel on the weekly. Usually when it does that, it does pull back a little bit, in which it did. Back to the 20 EMA on the daily, weekly, close to it anyways. And right where the 20 EMA is on the weekly lines up with right around the 250 level on the daily, and that gap fill. So definitely keep an eye on that 250 level. NVIDIA is another one I'm looking at. Now on the weekly, it curled up, had a nice little pop. Now it's having trouble right around the 145 area now. You get a big inverted head and shoulders, the left, the head, and the right shoulder right here. It gets over this 140, let's say 144, 145 area. It's probably going to shoot up to 150, possibly even 160. Then you get this 170 area right here. So NVIDIA could actually see some movement going on if it does manage to get over this 142 area on the hourly. So definitely keep an eye on that. Tesla is the last one that loads. Now Tesla, and it's not looking that good, but when it gets down to this 200 level, it likes to bounce. I know it's got underneath it a couple times right here, but each time it got bought up. But I know that, Elon Musk is getting some kind of getting lawsuits and stuff like that about the Twitter layoffs, so that could play a role in this. But two things I'd be watching at for Tesla's, I'd watch over 210, gets over 210, could get a push to 215, 220, 225, 230. And he gets over that 230, you get 235 level. I mean, that's where it's been stopping out, right around the 235. It gets over this area, it could really end up taking off. But if it does pull back, I'd watch it at 200, that big fat round number. It gets underneath 200, it might be worth taking calls and looking at. But have to see what happens on where it ends up going. So two areas looking at 200 under 200 for a possible call play, and over 210 for that. So that's going to do it for the watch list. And hopefully we don't have any crazy gap up or gap downs. I really hate those massive gap up and gap downs. It makes it hard to play, and just have to take it day by day and see what the market gives us, and just play what it gives us. So that's going to do it, and thanks for watching.